Well, hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Hey, Mo. Hey, Shamita. What are you guys do? How are you doing? I know what you're doing. How are you doing? I don't know why I always say that. What are you doing? Like I have no idea. Like you're not sitting backstage on a panel ready to go live. I'm clueless. What are you doing? How are you doing?
Good. Good. My belly's really full.
Is it?
So
Oh,
I'm trying to lean over to reach the laptop. And I'm like, gotta sit up. Oh, that was good though.
was it?
Yeah, it was really good. I've never really had. They're like these chicken tenders, but they're pretty big. I think I sent you a picture of them.
Yeah, you
And
did.
you toss them in like whatever wing sauce or whatever that you want, and they're just so good. But I ate too many.
Oh no. Well, it's
They look
Friday
good.
finally. They did look good. Hey, Dave G. Hey, Miley. Hey, where's Kenny? That's me. Hey, Amy. There we go. Keep Sugar Beat. Hello. Allie79. Hi. Paula Walking. Hello. Did I miss anybody? No, I think I got everybody. Hello, hello. It's finally Friday, which I'm glad for. I don't know why. I don't actually have anywhere to be during the week, but nevertheless, I'm happy for everybody who does. I just like weekends, that's all. So, everybody have a good week. I hope so. So, I think tonight we got a couple of things for you. We're going to go over the text messages and we're going to go over the closing arguments because, hello, those were epic. Not for well, in the defense on the defense's side, they weren't so much epic for I mean, they had their moments. They weren't epic and convincing anybody of anything, but look, she straight out yelled bullshit, okay? And anytime that happens, it's one of those things, okay? So it's and also, I have this sense of humor of a 13-year-old boy, so of course I snicker at that kind of stuff. And then it wouldn't be the ward if we didn't say and bid a fond farewell and adieu to Chandler Chazzle Dazzle Halderson. So, no, Allie, for reals. Nobody's week was as bad as Chazzle Dazzle's. My goodness. Even the lawyer who got called a liar wasn't having as bad of a week as Chazzle Dazzle.
I'm just laughing at all the times. Chazzle Dazzle has to do the squat and cough now.
Oof.
Have fun with that for the rest of your life.
Yikes. Yeah, that's not going to be fun. Well, Amy, I hope that baby gets better soon. You send that sweet girl my love. Bless her little heart. It's hard to have a sick baby. It's a poor little thing. Hey, Team Psych Ward, can you come clean my kitchen? Just kidding. It's clean. It's always clean. Ask Mo.
Well, she doesn't want to come clean mine. You know what's going on in my house.
Mo would always be like, "Are you cleaning again? Jen, are you cleaning again?" Yeah, because it stacks up when you don't have a dishwasher. Are you cleaning again? Yes, I have to. I can't help it. I have issues. Who am I kidding? I have like a whole Encyclopedia Britannica volume of issues.
Well, mine's clean now. I had sprayed it all down with Lysol and some other thing I got that kills germs.
Oh, good. Well, good. All right. So I think what we should do is just get into it. Let's go ahead and play the opening. And here we go.
Oh.
What are you doing, Shamita? You just removed mine.
I know.
All right. Okay. Now, I will say this. I agree. That is a very handy dandy trick and tip because, especially the ones in the kitchen, you never know what manner of funk is going to be in there. And my opinion and thoughts are that no matter what's going on in your life, your kitchen and your bathroom need to be the two cleanest rooms in the house. If you're sick and can't get to the living room, that's okay. But your kitchen and your bathroom have to be clean. So that's just my, yeah, I that's one of my things. I like a clean house. All right, so let me take this away. And where do you guys want to start? You want to start with the text? I see Shmita has 3 things lined up. Shmita, you want to tell me what we're going to watch first?
Well, technically, I have 4 lined up, but they didn't really all fit in the row. So I
Oh,
was thinking do the text first because we have the prosecution closing,
mhm.
which she doesn't really mention anything that we don't really know. And then we have the defense closing, and then
Right.
the
Well,
rebuttal.
yeah, the rebuttal.
That was
And then at the end of all of it, so you're going to want to stick around. Shmita and I prepared a little treat for you guys. This was a collaborative effort.
yeah.
So y'all be sure and
Jen did the
stick
most
around.
important work though of
Oh,
mashing it all together.
there is no I in team. We did it together. I couldn't have done it without you. And so there you go. And I'm forever grateful. You know, I love collabing. All right, well, let's get into it. Let's see those text messages.
Okay.
Just as I asked Mr. Shunk some questions about messages on Bart's phone, were you asked to review the downloads that were performed by Ms. Stacy Sadoff, who just testified, the download of Krista Halderson's phone?
Yes, I was.
And specifically, were you asked to look at text messages on that phone?
Yes.
Okay. I'm showing what's been marked in this case is exhibit number 499. Does this appear to be some of those messages that you were able to download, specifically more recent to the homicides?
Yes.
All right. And these are in what we call conversation mode.
Yes, they are.
And briefly, if you could explain conversation mode again for the jury, this is from Cellbrite?
Yes, it's a Cellbrite extraction report of the text messages between Krista and Chandler. And then the conversation view, it actually just appears easier to read. The color is different from the sender and the receiver.
Looks a little bit more like a text message.
It does.
Okay. I'll move 499 in evidence and ask to publish it starting at page 3,558.
Any objection?
Nothing further.
It is received and may be published.
All right, I'd ask for the Elmo to be turned on. All right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to work with the lighting for one moment. So in green here, is that Krista?
Yes, it is.
All right. And in blue, we're going to see Chandler.
That's correct.
So we're going to start essentially 7 days prior to, or around 8 days prior to when we're talking about everything happening. So on June 23rd, 2021, just to get us used to what this looks like, could you tell us what Krista says to Chandler?
Good night, Chandler. Love you.
Right. Mr. Halderson responds essentially, good night. And then this email, or this text message. I'm going to read it. Let me know if this is correct. HR rep and me are having to attend a board meeting online this afternoon. Our meeting will be online around lunch. I do not have to leave. Sent on June 24th, 2021.
That's correct.
Mrs. Halderson responds, and can you see that?
Yes, I can.
All right, could you read that for us?
Have Dad coach you and have in the wings to help you. Please let him support you or I will come home so I can.
Okay. June 24th, Mr. Halderson responds, sounds good. He's here saved in Krista's phone as Chaz.
That's correct.
Okay. And then Same day, a bit later at 1:10 p.m. I'm waiting in the room for him now.
Your Honor, I'm just going to object as leading.
Okay. We'll go to the next
Sustained.
question or the next text.
Wait a minute. Did she finally object for leading? Is that what she said?
Yeah, finally.
Finally. And I like how the thing is that he knew he was leading. And that's why, hey, Tony, how are you? Well, we keep changing the time. Don't you worry. We're just glad you're here.
We just got started too.
Yeah, we really did. You know how we just jibber jabber in the beginning. I don't even know where I am. At the beginning, and then, we get into it. But I like how he just kept right on like talking because he knew he was leading. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he went on to ask his question. Hello, you gotta wait for the judge to rule. You're supposed to be quiet. Knew he was leading. Hey, Amelia, good to see you.
Yeah,
And yes,
these are sad. These
They
are
are.
sad texts. Like,
they are.
They're very sad. She loved her kids.
Of course she
yeah,
did.
like you can just tell that she was, like, I don't even know, like, just,
Supportive, encouraging.
yeah.
See,
And like,
when
she would have been the one that would have like slept in their bed with them, put them to sleep. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. This is just my gut. Obviously, I have no facts to go off of to judge Bart's like parenting, none. But I just get in my gut feeling that she was the one that would do all the bedtimes and cuddles, and
yeah,
where he was more of like the play dad, like, let's go do this. And
yeah.
so,
I think the reason you feel like that is because there's so you guys know that I have I'm not talking to the panel. I know you guys know this, but I don't know if the audience does. I'm a mom of boys and girls. I have two boys who are the oldest, and then the two girls are the youngest, right? So it's a different set of circumstances. There's a different set of circumstances to being a boy mom and being a girl mom. And I didn't know the difference until I had my first daughter. And I agree with you 100%, Ali or Shmita, that is 100% true. That when you are a boy mom, you tend to be the cuddler, the bedtime routine, the nights, all the things, because that's just the way that it is. And dads of boys, I know how my husband is with our boys. It was all play, rough and tumble. I mean, he told him he loved him and stuff, but you know what I'm saying? They were all boys together. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Whereas, but then I would watch him with the girls, and he'd be like, "Are you all?" I mean, he wasn't like, they had him wrapped around their fingers, but he was also somewhat still a little bit tough. Like, you're all right. Dust yourself off, walk it off, that kind.
Yeah.
But
My husband hates it because I always do the gas like with my son,
oh,
and he's like, "Would you stop doing that?"
I don't think I did
But
that with mine, but you know what? The truth of the matter is, I was young. I was 18 and 19 when I had my boys, and I don't think it was in my head to gasp because I was still a kid myself.
yeah,
I would just run over. Yeah, so it's awful. And Mo, you and I, when we were talking last night, and then we were talking a little bit today about this coaching text, I think that she's talking about this meeting that they're going to have with the HR department, and her telling Chandler, let your dad help you.
Yeah, that's what I
That's,
figured out too.
yeah.
Once I saw the date.
Yeah. Hey, Faraway Eyes, how's it going? Hey, Lupe, I'm glad you guys made it. Hey, look, it's Friday. It's very casual in the ward. We're casual on Fridays, but we're all business Monday through Thursday. Just kidding. We're never all business.
I'd say I'm more like business casual than Monday through Thursday.
I'll casually be in your business. How about that? All right, here we go.
On the 24th of June at 1:10, what do we see from Krista to Chandler?
Would you like me to come home?
How does Chandler respond that day at 1:15
I'm all set.
and slightly after that?
I got a list of things from Dad and a bunch of tips.
Staying on the 24th, a message from Krista to Chandler. Now we're at approximately 2:31. Can you tell me what that says?
Oh, thank you, Amy.
If you need to pick up check, I can come home. Just ask.
At 3:13,
I think even my kids might
This
say
is
I
to
was a
Chandler
good
from
mom.
Krista. Any
But
news?
they'd also give you a list of
and then
things I
from
did wrong.
Chandler or Chaz to Krista Halderson, June 24th at 3:26. What does he say?
I don't need to go anywhere because I have a board meeting until the end of the day.
And then on June 24th at 3:27, that last message, what does that say?
From Krista, did it get solved?
You know, Tony, you're 100% correct. I would also like to know the dynamics in that family. And I think that was the one element in this trial that was missing.
Hmm.
Mainly, I expected the Hilgendorfs to be complimentary, and they're friends. And now I will tell you right now, if it were Schmida and Mo testifying, and they were talking about me, they would be like, "Well, look, here's the deal. I mean, yeah, she was a good mom, but she had like 4 friends, and she was really snarky. So and she had a YouTube channel, so it could be any number of people." That's what they would testify to. She has been known to leave snarky comments on the Facebooks. So it could be anybody. You check her Facebook history? No, but
Let me check my pictures.
yeah, check your picture, Shmita. But I think that the thing that was missing was, and maybe this was intentional because it might have been too hard for him to do it, but Mitchell, I expected Mitchell to have be asked some kind of memory. That's just because it's typical. But I would like to know what their I would like to know their
Well, her
dynamic.
best friend did say that she thought that the mom never ever spanked them and doted on them.
Yeah, but I mean, you would expect that from the friends. I wanted to hear it from Mitchell. I wanted to hear more than she was a helicopter mom. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, I kind of expected to hear it from them. You girls would be like as a mom, she was great, but I'm telling you right now, check her Facebook history. She's left rude comments places. Just kidding. I'm actually decent. I'm the same way everywhere. Let's be honest. Just depends. All right, here we go. He did, Amelia. He did. And so I was curious about that.
Again, staying on the 24th, a message from Mr. Halderson shortly after that at 3:27. What does he say?
Pretty much just need some approvals and signatures.
Now we're on to June 28th at 1:02 p.m. What does Krista Halderson say to Chaz?
Were you able to make an appointment with MATC?
Again, June 28th, now at 1:02. What does Mr. Halderson say to Krista?
No, there's a line I might be able to skip, so I'm exploring that option.
A line since November of last year.
Correct. The longest line ever.
Then the next, we're now on to June 30th.
Getting an appointment with an
here at
MATC
7:22 in the
advisor
morning,
is the
what does
harder to
Krista
get
send to
into
Chaz?
than a
Thank you for waving. You made my day.
My
Happy face
Chemical
emoji.
Romance concert.
This is so sad.
It
Mr.
is
Halderson
sad.
responds shortly after, saying what?
He waved goodbye
No
to her
problem.
when she left for work, and it made her
And
day.
then, what does Krista say?
So sad.
It is sad.
7:30 p.m. or a.m. on that day.
Love you lots.
On the 30th, message from Krista to Chandler.
Come see us when you are done.
It's at 5:19 p.m.
That's correct.
Mr. Halderson responds with what?
Okay.
Now on to July 1st of 2021, a message from Krista to Chandler at 1:38 p.m. What does that say?
Hope things are going well. Thinking about you. Happy face emoji.
What's the kind of stuff I text my kids?
On July 1st, 2021 at 2:34, how does Mr. Halderson respond?
Going well. Thanks.
And what does Krista respond at 2:34 on that day?
With a happy face emoji.
At 3:19 p.m. on July 1st, 2021, what does Chandler text his mother?
Dad's phone died. Text or call me.
No, Dad died.
Shortly after, another message.
Yeah, from Chandler to Krista. And get soda on your way home. I have an extra hour of work.
He doesn't even
Krista
ask
responds.
her.
Okay, I can. Happy face emoji.
And that's at 3:22.
They kept saying he asked his mom to get soda. He asked his mom to pick up some soda. No, he fucking didn't. He told his mother to get soda. And she
Yeah.
just, okay, whatever you need, honey. Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
On July 1st, correct?
Yeah,
That's
because he
correct.
had an extra hour of work to do. Probably
Yeah.
Wasn't done his
something to
game.
do with his dad
Work.
he just shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like a please.
Right.
Please.
See, now I will say this. My kids are kids. I mean, they're, 3 of them are adults now, but let's be honest. They're functioning out in the world like they should be, but when it comes to me, sometimes I have to remind them. But have they ever sent me a text like that? Yeah, but you know what I would say? Well, hello. What's, you don't have
My mom would,
manners?
if I said that to my mom, she'd be like, no.
Yeah, I would remind them, you don't have any
Yeah,
manners?
Jen
Get
would
your own
remind-
soda. Get your own soda. I sure would remind them.
Mm-hmm.
Manners matter. You're exactly right.
On July 4th, there's
You're
no
right
messages.
also,
Well, on
Lupe.
July 4th will be the next message we'll look at. There's a message from Chandler to Krista on the 4th of July at 11:02 a.m. What does that read?
Hoping this goes through. I bet there's a lot of people up there.
Shortly after, he sends another message. What does that say?
Making it hard to message.
And on July 4th, shortly after that, at 11:04 a.m. So the last message from we just looked at was 11:03 and 7 seconds.
That's correct.
At 11:04 and 23 seconds, Krista Halderson's phone texts Chandler's phone. What does that say?
Made it safely. Can't get anything through. And yes, it's packed. Going to White Lake today for the parade and will be home Monday night, Tuesday early. Love you lots.
The use of the last phrase, love you lots, with exclamation points, that had occurred at other times in the messages with Krista and Chandler.
Yes, it had.
That was a phrase she used.
It appeared so, yes.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Detective Sims, just so I'm clear, that text exchange was extracted from Krista's cell phone?
Yes, that's correct.
So is it safe to assume that you or someone in your investigation looked at all of Krista's text exchanges on her phone, not just the ones with Chandler?
That's correct, we did.
And anything else you could look at on the phone you looked at, correct?
That's correct.
That's it, thank you.
Can you redirect?
No.
Thank you, Detective. You
Wow,
can go
tough
back to your seat
question.
at the table.
He
Brown or
played,
Raymond?
uh,
I'll call
he
Courtney
pled,
Vick from the Department of Justice.
he pled not guilty. Where's Kenny? Yeah, he did. And
And
you know,
he can't claim crazy.
no, he is not a candidate for the insanity plea because he did many things to conceal his crime, which negates the insanity plea. And, you know, I'm curious. This is the thing that I'm curious about. If the defense, which we know now, because of their closing argument, not because of anything they presented during the actual trial when they had an opportunity to do so.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why they did not. I mean, all of the records, the phone records were pulled, right? They were all downloaded, and they would receive that through discovery. The defense would. So why didn't they go through that and find texts where they weren't giving an ultimatum? Because that was their argument in the end, was that there was no proof that the Haldersons were angry with Chazzle Dazzle and ouch, that my back. Sorry. And that his world was in essence going to come tumbling down or whatever. I'm just curious why I'd like to talk to that lawyer, because if that was
No,
their
thank you.
defense, no, can you imagine? Excuse me, this Chen Lu, you don't know me, but I'd like to ask you a few questions. Shmita.
No, thank you.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was thinking about doing a mashup of every time the judge for each. That's so much fucking work going through. But
yeah, it
each
is.
witness or whoever takes the stand, cross.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Oh, I forgot to put it
Oh.
on subscribers only.
I got it.
Thank you,
Okay.
guys. So the deal is, like, they could have used that, even if they weren't going to use it during the trial, which they should have, because any
Well, they should have done
exhibits that they would have displayed during either opening or closing arguments really don't count. So I never could understand that. So then it makes me wonder, and they didn't pursue, when she was cross-examining the detective there, she didn't pursue that line of questioning. There was no follow-up, and she could have.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she could
There's
have in
many
a lot of
questions that they could
cases.
have asked. Many questions.
Now that is an interesting exchange, Nonstop Mom, that come see us when you're done. Oh, for Pete's sake, let me fix this real quick. Ridiculous. Nobody clicked those links. Don't know why I would tell you.
I don't think they can.
Okay, good. It's very annoying. I don't know why they bother. So if you can't click, oh crap, I clicked the wrong thing. If you can't even click it, then what is the point? So lame. Anyway, that is an interesting exchange. And I definitely would have wanted to know more about that. Unfortunately, here we are, because nobody asks any questions. Not nobody. We're asking questions. They didn't ask any questions. They could have followed that up with a more in-depth line of questioning, but they didn't. Weird. All right. Okay. Yeah, I've done it I've said that too. Hey, your dad, literally in the house, I've sent one or both of my children at one time or another, and sometimes both at the same time. Hey, come and your dad and I want to talk to you, because that way they can get all their eye rolls and sighs out of the way from a safe, from a safe distance in their room, and then they can prepare themselves to have whatever talk we need to have. But, you know what else is interesting to me is that, um, generally speaking, the majority of conversations that my husband and I have about our kids is face to face. But there was a time when he worked a lot more than he does now, though he works a lot now. Um, and we couldn't. And so we communicated a lot through text. And I guess I'm kind of curious if there were those kind of texts, and if, I don't know. I just want to be nosy, I suppose. I just want to know, and this is going to be that case. The why.
I agree, because I want to see what Bart and Krista texted to each other.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I want to see. Their texts.
Like, you better come get your son.
I have definitely texted that to my husband a time or two. You better come get your kid, or I'm tired of your children. Or I know I've sent this text repeatedly. Hey, this wife and mom thing's been cool, but I gotta go. I've sent that more than once. It's really starting to cramp my style. I'm about to dip. And no, Allie, nobody
No.
ever testified that they heard gunshots either.
The prosecution alluded to 5 bullets missing from the gun. So that would be 5 gunshots at differing times between the father and the mother, if it was that way with the mom. But nobody heard anything. Like, I feel like a gunshot
Yeah, and the
would be
defense
picked
didn't
up
even bring that
on the
up.
doorbell cameras. Like, the doorbell cameras would. Well, I guess it depends. The one with all the freaking jail cameras, you would think at least they were running 24/7.
Well, they said the muzzle was right next to his skin, so I don't know if that would muffle one of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just awful.
Sorry, you guys. I had to switch because I've been sitting in this chair too long. I've been sitting in it all day working on videos, and my back is really hurting, so I have to get up and move around. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's fine.
I feel you. My back is killing me too.
Yeah, in the basement. See, like where I am, I live in the bush. So a gunshot really, I hear gunshots not all the time, but it's not unusual. So it's not something that I'd be like, oh, I need to call the police.
Yeah, our neighbors shoot guns all the time, so
Okay,
Yes.
that when we first moved into this house, I think we had been here maybe a month, and I heard them, but my husband was in the living room and saw the flash from the gunshots. But I'm telling you right now, if we would have been questioned by the cops, I wouldn't have known what time it was or what the direction was. I would have been the worst witness, because listen, I know that when you hear gunshots, the last thing you do is go and friggin' look. You had to
Team
float.
Psych Ward does.
Who?
Team Psych Ward does. There's a story about them hearing
Oh,
a
yeah,
gunshot
yeah,
or-
yeah.
and she ran right
Yes,
to the window, like, what was
Mhm.
that?
No, Jen Lou knows. No. We don't. We do not look. You get down. And I don't even know how I know that. It's not like, I lived anywhere where there was gunshots or all the time or anything. So I just knew. I don't look. Listen, if I hear gunshots, my name is Paul, and that is between y'all. Okay, I'm not trying to. My name is Bennett, and I ain't in it.
Yeah, but
But I
his neighbors weren't like that. They told everything they knew. Like, look at the fireplace video.
don't, yeah, exactly. I don't think they heard it.
Okay, mentioning the fireplace. I'm curious. I'm actually hoping that they release like body cam footage of them like walking in the house and around the house because I kind of want to map out the smoke detectors. Because if the fire was enough to break the glass, double the paint on the fireplace, like I know with my wood stove, like I don't know, you open the door too slow or you go to close it open and the smoke like it sets the smoke detector off like instantly.
Yeah, but the reason, okay, so if you're using a fireplace properly, meaning not to burn evidence, you're using it to actually heat your home, the glass doors would be open.
Yeah, true.
So the reason that it was able to get, first of all, I'm almost positive he used an accelerant. He would have had to. But second of all, he kept those doors closed and he kept that damper open, which sent all of the smoke up and out of the chimney, which is exactly what that thing was designed to do. So he had to have, whenever the doors broke, it's because he had them completely closed.
Thank
Which
you,
is,
Amy. You're so sweet.
thank you, Amy. So sweet.
Yeah.
There's
But
no
like when the
there's no
glass
other
broke,
reason,
I
right?
think that's when because I've thought about this too. Like when the glass broke, is that what made the fire intensify more? And it was
Yes.
coming out and like you know how the fire like lips up wherever
Yes.
it's going. So I didn't know if it was that or I don't know. I'm just weird. I'm nosy too. I just want to see where the smoke detectors are.
Well, think about it. Think about it. Please tell me yes, even if, well, don't lie to me, but just, I hope you've seen Backdraft, right?
I've seen what?
Backdraft, the
Is that a
movie
movie?
Backdraft.
No.
Yes,
No.
it's a good movie.
No.
It's a very good movie and it's all about fires. And I think it would be fascinating to you because you think about it. What does a fire need to stay lit? What are the two things it needs? Something to burn,
Oxygen.
and what else? Oxygen.
Oxygen.
So if you kept those doors closed, right? And then the heat became so intense that it broke one of the panes, what would immediately fill that fireplace?
Oxygen.
Exactly. And thus making the fire what? Bigger,
Big.
which is what caused the damage. The only reason I know this is because one of my very, very good friends when I lived in Texas was married to a fireman. And he and I used to talk about this stuff all the time. It used to fascinate me. He would tell me all kinds of stuff. And I think that's what happened. When that pane broke, that's when a sudden rush and then the flame got even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
but
what
like,
happened.
So on the cameras, though, the cameras are recording it,
Right.
but you just like when that happens, you don't have like any audio, like you don't hear any smoke detectors going off.
Well, why would, but babe, so because okay, so yes, the
He could have taken them down or did something.
I don't think so. And I don't think he would have needed to because if the fire got bigger, but he had the damper open and causing the smoke to rise up out of the chimney in the way that it was intended to do, then there would be the smoke wouldn't fill. You only get smoke in your house when there's nowhere for the smoke to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So would there have been a little amount of smoke? Yes. Would it have been enough to set the smoke alarms off? No. And the truth is, if that had happened, there would have been a different smell in that house.
That's true. That's true. Everything would have had a smell.
Yes. And the thing is that when you have a lot of smoke and it's from a fire like that, it leaves a residue. on your walls, on your drapes. So,
That's smart.
I'm telling you, I really think I might be able to get away with it.
That's
Come
what
on,
he
I want
needed.
this
He just
smoke.
needed Jen Lou.
nobody wants the smoke. So I think that's why. I think that we're missing some items from the Google search.
Yeah.
I think that Chaz looked this stuff up because
I think
there's
so
some.
too. I'm surprised they didn't subpoena.
Yes,
Google.
Allie, they did. They did. But the thing of it is, everybody who has a YouTube account right now and is chatting in this chat is tied to Google. Okay, you have a Google account that goes to your YouTube account. You can control the history of both from your Google account and you can clear it. And Google
Yes.
has.
But the other trial, they subpoenaed Google and found his whole history.
Right. But what I'm saying is, what would be the point of the prosecution doing that? They really, this did not, they had enough.
I agree. That's why I thought they probably didn't do it because they already had enough.
Plus,
But
Google,
I would love to see it anyway.
Me too. But Google's one of those companies. We talked about this too, that when you sign up with a Gmail account, right, you have the terms and conditions, all of that, right? But also there's a privacy policy. And it's not like they can just send a subpoena to Google and Google's going to say, oh, okay, cool, we'll turn it right over. You have to really prove it to Google.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to do some shady shit,
right,
use a proton mail or whatever, because it's based out of Sweden, and that's a hard, or Switzerland.
Sweden. Oh,
yeah.
I don't know. You were probably right. One of those places.
Not here.
Yeah, not here.
Unless you're from Sweden or Switzerland, then don't use proton mail.
Yeah.
Right. The corn rake trial, they subpoenaed his Google records.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oops,
oh, wow.
Sorry.
I didn't know that. I just barely
600 pages.
started it. I wasn't quite there yet.
Oh, sorry,
Wow.
sorry. Okay,
It's
sorry.
all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'll forget about it. Believe me.
Well, I was pausing reading all his Google searches.
Oh, yeah. I can't. I haven't gotten that far yet because I wanted to finish up with this. So I think that there are things that he looked up, and let's be honest, he could have just simply YouTube the movie Backdraft. There's all kinds of information in that movie. If he wanted to.
He looked up stuff. If he looked up the bodies being found, he made himself notes of how to clean up his murder. He was Googling all kinds of stuff.
I'm sure he was.
What else was he doing all day? He wasn't working.
Sure wasn't. Well, I mean, being 18 different people on email is hard too. Plus yourself. I mean, he had to get tough with a few of his personalities. That was a lot. So I'm just saying, I don't think they needed the Google history. I think they had enough. But all right, what you got up for us next there, Shamida?
This is the prosecution. Their first closing argument. I don't know how, if you want to go, because a lot of it is what we just saw, in the trials.
Heather, you know what I remember? Hold on, Allie, sorry, or Shmita. You know what I remember from that movie? It wasn't about anything about bodies, but there were stuff about fires. I remember that. It's up to you. We'll just do what you guys want to do. What is this?
It's whatever you guys want to do. This is their closing argument.
Let's do.
So
let's just play it. How long is it?
in 40 minutes.
Yeah, just play it so you
just
can
play it.
make
Okay.
sense of the other.
Okay.
Sorry, my belly's grumbling, if y'all heard it.
I didn't hear it, but go eat. When did you sneak in, Heather?
Good morning.
Whatever. I didn't see you. Hi.
I always start my closing arguments in the same way. And it's simply this. If any of the attorneys, either throughout the trial or during closings today,
Wait,
from
hold on
either
just a
side,
second. What objections, Paula? My brain isn't working today. I need help. All right. Well, I wait for Paula. I'm going to play this.
myself, Mr. Brown, or the defense misstate a fact or evidence, you should go with your collective memories. You guys are the jury. We've sat with this case for months, had meetings about it, talked about it, read things about it, and sometimes not intentionally, but sometimes people,
People make mistakes. We know.
21. On that day is started by Chandler messaging his girlfriend. 7:26 a.m. I hardly slept.
Oh, yes,
7:27.
Amelia. That's
I
right.
don't know. Stuff really hasn't been going well for me lately. So
The prosecutor on his rebuttal, he said that the defense lied to the jury.
I'm trying to plan for the next thing to fuck me over. We know at 7:27 a.m., his mom leaves for work. She works customer service at Zimbrick. She heads to work. We then know at 7:51 a.m., Chandler messages his girlfriend, yeah, I had a great future planned and it's falling apart. Now, what does he know at this point? His dad does send him a text message the day before saying, I spoke to Omar Job. I honestly don't know if that meant anything to Chandler or not. But things are coming to a crescendo. And what we do know is he texts his girlfriend at 1:04 p.m. I overheard that they may go to the cabin with their friends, and I don't know. But I don't know. We also know that on Bart's work calendar, he has a meeting with Chandler and MATC. I don't know if Bart confronted him the night before. I don't know if Bart was going to see how long this ruse or how elaborate this ruse was going to get. But this topic was going to be discussed, and there would be a coming to terms. We know that at 2:10 p.m., Bart texts Chandler, I'm ready whenever you are. What happened next? Well, we have to look at the evidence. There's a spent shell casing in the basement of the home. There's a bullet fragment, noticeable reddish brown staining. Also tests positive
She
for
scrolls
Bart's
like I
DNA.
do. Too fast.
That's the bullet that went through and through Bart.
Oh.
The spent casing. And that casing tested positive as being shot from the rifle that belonged to Chandler. We know that Chandler got this rifle about 2 weeks prior, and it was found in the barn on Irwin Road.
Okay, so to be fair, they said that there's 5 bullets missing from that gun, and 2 of them, possibly 3, were in the dad, so they don't really know if it was from the dad, or could have been from the mom, or what else? I don't know.
Because, okay, so when they did Bart Halderson's torso, and this is all they had, there were 2 very visible gunshot wounds. The third one, the potential third one,
was potential only because it couldn't be conclusively ruled as a gunshot wound because of the dismemberment.
Yeah.
So there,
Yeah, I
so
zoomed in on that,
Yeah,
and
they
I
don't
was
know if
looking
it's
at
in.
it, and like, obviously from the picture, it's not the same as in person, but I couldn't see.
yeah, I think that they suspected it, but see that you can't. The medical examiner, because of the damage caused by the dismemberment, couldn't conclusively in her report write that is exactly what it was. But I think that I think if she had not as strongly suspected it, because I listened to her testimony very carefully, and she was very careful about what she could say happened and what she couldn't say happened. And I don't think she would have mentioned that at all if she was not almost fairly certain that that's what it was. So there's 2 bullets that would be unaccounted for.
We know that he got
Yeah, that
it
makes
from
sense.
his friend Smith, and he was given a bunch of ammo.
And the bullets that were recovered all
We also
tested
see
positive
evidence
for
in the
Bart's
basement
blood.
of a divot from ricochet, a fresh divot. Also, blood,
Rally 79.
quadrillion times more likely to be Bart
For sure,
than any
that's
other
not what it
unknown
means.
person.
It's
More
the new
blood.
thing they're doing to driver's license
And
now.
we know that Chandler texted his mom this.
When I got
Dad's
my
phone
one
died.
for Florida,
Text
it
or
looks
call
like
me.
I don't have a
Remember,
nose
Dad's
because
phone
of the
had
seal
a
they put on
charger
it.
right there on the desk. You can plug your phone in and within 10 seconds send a text message. I think here there's a half-truth. Dad's dead. Dad died. Oh, and get me soda on your way home. I have an extra hour of work. We know Chandler didn't have a job. He's stalling. Get his mom to
The
take more
defense
time.
attorney in the blue, I
Okay,
can't remember her
I promise,
name.
he says,
But if you
smiley
watch
face.
her, she starts like breathing real hard. You can tell she's nervous
We know that she
she's getting ready
returns
to
to the
go.
house at 5:12 p.m.
Well, she knows
Also
she's
know
got
that
no
her blood
chance.
is found in the basement as well. And at 5:11 p.m., Chandler starts writing the following note. Weekend chores, H2O2 and lemon. So that's hydrogen peroxide, which cleans up blood, and lemon, which is a deodorizer. Door handles, move your shit upstairs, get a job. Interesting, if he would have just gotten a job, he wouldn't have had to do the prior 3.
I wonder the door
And clean the
handles.
floor. That came back in a search warrant for his Google account.
That's another thing he Googled.
We also know at 7:49
How to get
p.m.
out
he's in
blood.
the shower FaceTiming his girlfriend. So he cleans up. He then departs at 8:16 that night for Quit Trip. We see him there at the Quit Trip. There's the Volvo. There he is. He buys 20 pounds of ice.
Which really isn't
He
that
arrives
much
back
ice.
home at 8:29.
I can't really roast
Yeah.
her, Lupe, because there's only like
Then we
17
know
minutes
that
total of
somewhere
her.
between 8:30
The
and
shortest
9:30,
roast ever.
the neighbor, Steve Greiber, smells a weird burning, a pungent burning that he describes like a pig roast. And you heard testimony from Fire Inspector Bill Boswell that unfortunately in his line of work, he's come across many
Actually,
burned
I thought it was
bodies, human
7.
bodies, and that they do in fact smell like a pig roast. Moving on to Friday, July 2nd. We know throughout that night, and I'm not re-showing this video, but there's hours of this video. We know that we see burning in the fireplace and the garage light go on and off. All throughout the night. There it is, almost 3 a.m. Until at one point it kind of crescendos and dies down. We also know, looking at the living room of the Halderson home, that right there by the fireplace is a measuring tape. Folks, he measured the
reaching.
parts of the body. to see if they were small enough to fit into the fireplace.
That's reaching.
And a fan, add oxygen to that fire, make it
Yeah, I
burn
think
a
that
little
might
bit
be reaching.
hotter. We know that it burned hot enough that it damaged the fireplace. The door shattered, and the paint is visibly peeling and bubbling. We also know that there's blood evidence. Evidence of cleanup from the luminol photos, as well as droplets of blood. We know that that those stains test positive for blood, and that
I
they
agree,
test
Amelia.
positive for Bart and Krista's DNA. There is also some DNA from Chandler. He did cut his foot. We're not
I think it was
disputing
on her word of the
that. But he
day.
cut his foot in the
app,
process of dismembering and blowing and burning his parents, not from playing ball with the dogs. More blood. That's also Dad. And of course, on top of this fireplace that then is made to look all pristine with papers that date to June 23rd, not in the winter from when you would have last actually had a real fire, but from June 23rd, there's a piece of skull.
I can
And so
tell that
Dr.
you're.
Christina wrote,
Hang on just a
Christina,
second. Miss Ma'am, I can tell that you're trying to be snarky, but your tone, you got to say it from your gut, not the way you said it, like this. And looking all pristine is a piece of paper from July 23rd, or from June 23rd, not from the winter when you would expect to have used your fireplace for a legitimate reason other than destroying evidence of a crime that you just committed, like that. Not how you said it, lady. Okay, go ahead.
Soto gets involved in this case. And she finds bones. She finds lots of bones. They go into this ash trap. I had never even heard of an ash trap before. Clearly,
Me
neither had
either.
Mr.
So
Halderson.
that me and you both, Toots.
But they find a total of 230 bone fragments. She's able to say 106 of them were substantial enough that she's able to say what they were, that they were human and what
I
parts
feel
of the
like
body
he
they were
did that to hide any prints.
53 from the skull or cranium.
Mm-hmm.
Because he
18
knew if
from
they
the
found
hands.
them, he didn't want them to be.
24
Well, yeah,
Then-
because he probably Googled dental
8
records,
vertebrae.
fingerprints.
3
This is why I
long
wish
bones,
they
either
would
from
have,
arms
yeah,
or legs.
got the Googles.
But this is
There's also
honest.
evidence.
He probably didn't have to Google that. Do you know? I watched his or listened to them testify about his Netflix watching, and that's common knowledge. Removing the hands, the head is common knowledge. Those are the main things that they use to identify a person. So I doubt that he had to Google all that.
Right.
Well, no,
and
you don't
also,
need a fireplace in Florida nonstop, Mom. You sure do not.
Like,
Kat
I
was
feel
into
like,
true crime.
Yeah,
So they
exactly.
probably watched stuff together too.
Yeah.
Exactly. One marathon of episodes of Snapped, and you could have picked up this information.
that's true.
Clearly, he was, but this is the problem. He probably
Watching it on
did
2-speed.
watch, well, maybe, but he more than likely dazed in and out and didn't pay close attention to the details.
In the garage.
Yeah.
Paula, he used the
have
hydrogen
blood staining
peroxide
on
and it got rid of
shoes.
a lot of it.
Yeah, it did.
Blood staining tests positive for both Bart and Krista and is identified as blood, not just touch DNA. More staining on the shoes. Bart.
Mhm.
And in the shoes, they test the inside of the shoes as well to see whose shoes these belong to. They're Chandler's. They're his size 10 and a half. Oh, and he's wearing them right there.
No, like this.
Those are the shoes he wore.
And he's wearing them right there. You got to get it. We got to say it from
In
your
the
gut,
garage,
sis.
there's an axe found.
Ugh.
And there's blood staining on this axe. It's positive for human blood on the hilt. It's positive for human blood on the head. On the head of the axe is both Bart and Krista's DNA. On the hilt is both Bart and Krista's DNA. And look at those numbers. A quadrillion times more likely to be those two than an unknown person.
I think he was in the,
That's
I think it
1,000
was the
times the
shower
world's
alley,
population.
like Amelia said. Mm-hmm.
And on the handle, Bart and Krista's DNA as well.
I wonder how I could get my hands on some
We
luminol.
know
I'm
at
curious as to what the
7:02 a.m.
limitations of
that
luminol
morning,
are.
that's a
Could you imagine if he was in the shower, but like, because he was on FaceTime with the girlfriend
Uh-huh.
in the damn shower. Like, he could have just been taking a break, like talking to her. I wish I would have asked him. Or asked
Why
him.
don't you rewind that? Because if you look at that footage, I think you're 100% correct. Look at his body. It's not wet.
No.
His hair's not wet.
He doesn't look like he's in the shower. Like, he looks like he's in a tile, like around tile.
It didn't
But-
initially when they first showed that picture, but that the first time they presented it, but that in her closing, that's a wider shot.
Mhm.
It's
Well, at first
clearly
I thought it
from
was on the toilet. Now,
well, yeah, because of the way it was shown in court the first time, but now they put a wider shot of it. And
Mhm.
yeah, he's definitely in that shower. I'm going to look into it.
this is
because
why I
I'm
want some body cams.
Yeah. I
Not
don't,
the layer.
yeah. Well, they did do that. You don't need the body cam for that.
Oh yeah, he
They
went
went-
around. Okay, I
Huh?
just need to go back and.
Yeah,
I just have to go back and look.
Yeah, because the other guy filmed the whole house from all the way, walked through the entire thing. There's like 2 hours of footage.
I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Friday morning of a holiday weekend, okay? July 3rd, Friday morning. A 23-year-old.
Oh, is it Worley?
at
I don't know anything
7:02
about that
a.m.
game.
Gets up, drives to Fleet Farm. Again, wearing those shoes. He buys a tarp. There's that tarp, 6x8. That tarp is later found in a trash bin at the Earlwyn Road property out in the woods. He returns home at 7:31. And we see the
I'll
following
look it
throughout
up.
the day, we
I
see the
believe
following
you.
text
I just don't know
messages
anything about
between
that
him and
game.
his
I
girlfriend.
didn't think about that. That's a good point.
We're set for this. We just need ice. And now hydrogen peroxide, because I stepped on glass. Later, there's more talk, whether she will come or not. But if your mom has an extra bottle, that'd be great. And a Swiffer wet jet. Okay, I do and there's more talk about whether or not Kat will be there and what time.
Wait a minute. I just noticed this. Why did he need a Swiffer wet jet? What did they clean that floors with before?
I wondered that too when he asked for it.
I don't know.
Now I
And,
will
like,
say this.
It sounds
Well-
like she could know what's going on. Because he said we're almost set for this or ready for this or
Yeah.
something.
Hey, Kat, if you're out there listening, my email's in my about section. Let's talk. I got some questions. Not ugly questions, just curious questions. The only thing that I could think of is one time I got a little too rough with my Swiffer wet jet and I did break it. But the handle, it's not like I couldn't use it anymore. Like I scrubbed too hard. I pushed too hard.
Yeah.
And Chandler responds, okay, I do kind of need the Swiffer and the peroxide and stuff. Oh, and remember ice. Didn't he just buy 20 pounds of ice less than 12 hours earlier? But he needs more ice. What does he need that ice for? Well,
Not
before it comes to
margaritas.
work,
What if she went to go get some ice cream?
we know there's a freezer. He bought
I mean,
lots
that's
of
a
that's-
big
I mean-
chance to take.
and that freezer tested
That's
positive
why
for
they
human
made the
blood.
couch for it in the living room.
But she
Parts of
said
his
she
mom
got ice
and his
cream out of
dad
that
were put in
freezer
that freezer.
before. That's a big chance to take to have her in that house.
We know that night on the 2nd, one
But
of
she
Krista's
didn't know
coworkers,
anything.
Daniel Croninger, came to the house. He had heard that day that Krista
I'm glad
nearly
I'm not
called
the
in
only
motion for
one,
work,
Tony.
And that is not the Krista he knew. She had worked there for several years, had never done that before, just not the type of person she was. I mean, of course, I never met her, but she seems a little type A. Like she liked things to be in order, liked things to be a certain way, and was responsible. So he comes over, And Chandler begins to tell the tale of, yeah, they went up to the cabin. They left this morning with some mystery couple. You know, she probably just forgot to take off, even though her boss testified that she would often take off a year in advance and get the dates right and had dates planned out in the future.
Yeah, but Mo, I just thought about what you said. She didn't go down there on her own accord. She didn't just wander through the house. She was sent down there that time to get the ice cream. So, yes, it would be risky to have her in the house, but it sounds to me like she wasn't completely freely comfortable. Know what I mean? Like to just go and get stuff. And plus, he would be there. So he could keep her from doing things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still risky. But he was.
I mean, I wouldn't do it if I knew I had body parts in the house.
But you're not a 23-year-old boy whose parents are now,
Right.
who has free reign of the house. You think about that.
Bang in the fort.
Correct. If the fort is a knocking, rocking, don't come a knocking. Okay, I'm skipping a little bit.
Oh, what a dummy trying to wrap
And that
the
white tent in
cell
the
phone in
background,
foil.
that's where they found
Right.
Mom's legs.
That never works.
Dr. Rogalska performed the autopsy of the legs. And there's only certain things she can tell us from the limited amount of human body remaining that she was able to do an autopsy of. She can say that Krista Halderson was dismembered post-mortem, so after death.
Tony, he sure did.
She also, looking at a totality of the circumstances, puts the cause of death as homicidal violence. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot tell you if Krista was shot, strangled, stabbed, or something else. I can't. What I can tell you is we have 5 bullets missing from a magazine, and we know that Bart Halderson was shot 2 or 3 times. So there are 2 missing bullets, but I don't know if she was shot.
That's
What I do know is she
a
entered
good
the house.
catch,
and it
really,
was only
because
Bart and Chandler.
I have no idea about that game.
one
Now, if
else.
they just said Call of Duty
died of
or
homicidal
Fortnite, I
violence.
would know. But I don't know anything about this game, so that's an excellent catch.
Manner
Thank
of
you for
death, homicide.
telling us.
And those are legal documents that the ME has to put these determinations on. We know that Chandler arrives back home at 9:31 a.m. Later that day, he goes to Dulce's house, and he returns at 3:07 p.m. And that night, though, we know he leaves his house at 10:08
I don't know,
p.m.
Amy, what's wrong with
And we
people.
know he goes up
That's
to
why I like
Portage
animals.
along the Wisconsin River.
Can't be trusting
From
humans.
his house to Portage and back. He's up in the Portage area from at least 10:37 p.m. to 11:03 p.m.
I want to play that game now.
Portage is along the Wisconsin River. We tried to search that area. Wisconsin River has a very strong current. People drown there every year, and we never find their bodies, and their bodies are whole. They attempted a dive. It was unsafe. We didn't find any evidence there. But I think in the totality of the circumstances,
Hey, Print Ready, how you doing? Good to
that
see
wasn't a
you.
nighttime trip to go swimming.
No, you're probably right, Madam Prosecutor.
We know he returns at 11:30 p.m. And then we go on to July 4th. July 4th is actually the day that is the most eerie to me, because it's like Chandler Halderson pushed pause on his crime and just lived a normal life for a day. On July 4th, he spends the day with his girlfriend and his girlfriend's family. He goes to the farm, uses the pool, eats dinner.
I think a better analogy for that would be he started a new campaign on Escape from Tarkov. You know how you can do that, how you get so far in a game and you get frustrated and you're stuck, so you just use one of your memory slots and start a new game? I do that all the time. That would have been a better analogy, but please continue. My bad. It's very rude of me to interrupt.
They have some sort of barbecue. And he asks permission to return the next day and use the pool. On that day, he does do one thing concerning his crime. Oh, and then he goes to fireworks that night at Dan Croninger's house. He does send this text message that he says tells everyone is from his mom. And it is made from mom's phone that again is in the house, in shoes, hiding in the garage. Made it safely. Can't get anything through, and yes, it's packed. Going to White Lake today for the parade. We'll be home Monday night or Tuesday early. Love you lots. Mom ended a lot of her text messages to Chandler. Love you lots. Couple problems with the text message. First, the parade was on Saturday, not Sunday.
Really, he sure was.
Second, the phone never leaves Windsor, Wisconsin. Monday, July 5th. We know that Kat had stayed over the night before, and she leaves at 7:47. We know that that day is supposedly Chandler's big doctor appointment at 2 p.m. We know that it's at a UW clinic on Park Street because there's conversation between Kat and Chandler about her potentially taking him, trying to get off of work, and she actually Googles the directions. Here's his text messages to her. Made it a bit ago and checked in. This is at 2:09. Just need you to know because I have horrible reception. 2:22. No connection to even load Snapchat. 2:24. And no Wi-Fi. 2:24. What UW clinic doesn't have Wi-Fi?
I don't know.
They took an x-ray and CT scan. Nothing bad on the x-ray. CT scan, hun. They haven't determined anything, but with my legs, like
Yes,
they were,
Prep Ready,
I gotta wait to
exactly.
hear what they determined. Chandler never went to any doctor's appointment. He's at home, sending these text messages to his girlfriend, keeping up his ruse. Nowhere close to Madison, certainly not on Park Street. He does leave the house, though, that day.
I agree, print ready.
At 4:30 p.m., he goes to the farm. We know about that. He leaves a voicemail for Cress, and then him and Cress end up having an interaction. And there's this whole conversation about using the pool.
We know he ruined Topless 2 p.m.
We
We
also
got
hear
it.
from both Cress
Okay, skipping forward a little
and
bit.
Blood, Bart, and
That's too much for me.
the Halderson home. She also took a look at the tarp in the garbage can. And there's a couple links back to the house with this garbage can. There's an extra lid to a garbage can up in that room that was, I think, at one time a bathroom and that they were remodeling. And there's also a matching sort of container in the garage. Inside of that container found on the farm is a piece of yellow duct tape. That duct tape had blood. That was Bart Halderson's. On that tarp inside of that trash bin, there's more yellow tape. More yellow tape. And there's yellow duct tape found at the house. So analyst McMahon pieced these together microscopically to see if they were a match.
Of course
She
they
looked
were.
at them and found that they were all one continuous piece of tape. That's the tape he wrapped around the tarp to seal up his dad's torso.
Jeez.
There was that torso also had Bart and Krista's DNA on it and tested positive for blood. Analyst Matson looked at some various items from the farm as well. She looked at that same tarp.
Why is
and
there a
found
new court
fingerprint
reporter every other
from
day?
Chandler. Now remember that tarp we have Chandler buying at Fleet
I
Farm. It would have been
wondered
bought
that
and
too.
packaged with no fingerprints on it. Here we find it covered
Exactly,
in blood.
Print Ready. Like
his
those are details you would think you could keep just in your brain. You know what I mean?
She also looked at that tarp that was in that bin
Don't get
and
caught.
looked at it for
I mean, why don't you write
shoe,
that down?
footwear,
Don't get caught.
impression analysis. Could she?
I
she could-
can't
could
believe
you
he
see
had
some
the
prints
nerve
on
to
it, and
say,
can we
"Get
match
a
those up to
job."
some shoes? Maybe that'll help us
Right.
figure out who that is, who was on that tarp. She's able to match it up to Brooks 5 launch shoes. A pair of Brooks 5 launch shoes in a size 10.5 were found in the Halderson garage. Again, those are the same ones that have blood on them. and that Chandler's wearing in that video.
Look
A
how
second
he's
tarp
dressed
was
for
found in the
June
barn. It
or
is an older
July.
tarp. They
Does it
tried
not
to do
get hot
footwear
there?
analysis on it, came back to a Ralph Polo shoe. We never found one of those. But again, that's an older tarp. We don't know if
Yeah, it was like
possibly
87
it was
degrees.
before the
That is
homicides
weird.
or
Well, it's not
after.
that hot.
Or if there was a pair
Yeah, I
of
looked
I
it
guess
up.
for
that were ditched.
no, but I mean, I'm just saying that 87 isn't
But
that hot.
tarp, once again,
I mean, I wouldn't be
is
dressed
covered
in a
blood
flannel for sure,
that
but
tests positive for both Bart
Well,
and
it is
Krista.
for them. They
Now,
don't
that's
you
what I
listen
was
saw a
for
picture
them.
thinking.
of Bart
That's what I
working
was
on that
thinking.
tarp. What you didn't see on that tarp was a bunch of blood stains because they weren't there. This blood is from this crime. Chandler gets home from the farm at 8:54 in the evening after going to the farm and later having dinner with Kat.
Remember how hot Dr.
that
B
night,
was
he's
when
not
she
done.
went to watch
Early in the
the
morning of the 6th,
backyard?
we see the fireplace burning more. Not as great as before, but some burning. We also see that garage light go on and off, on and off. I think it's a total of 7
See, and that's what I
times,
can't
Deputy
imagine.
Will.
She must not have gone down.
And
And
that's
well, no,
throughout
she
the
had
night.
to have because that's where the dryer was.
And we know at 4:30 that morning,
I don't see how she
Chandler
didn't see
leaves
any of
and
that
goes into
stuff.
Madison.
I don't either.
We know he goes into
And
Madison from his
that's
phone
what
records.
I think too.
We
What
don't know
if
what he
she
did
had
there,
started
but we do know it was a
questioning him?
trip that started out in the dark. We know he didn't have a job. And we know Madison's surrounded by lakes. Use your
We
common
think
sense.
they think it was an ambush, Print Ready. They think that on the
Wednesday,
first or the
July 7th.
hold on a second. On the first is when it happened, and they think that while because his dad worked from home, they think he ambushed his dad and shot him, and then texted his mom and asked her to pick up soda as a way to stall her from coming home at her normal time. And then they think he ambushed the mom too, and they never saw it coming.
I just hope that the dad wasn't already partially dismembered. Like, I can see this freak putting, like, the dad's head somewhere for when the mom walks in.
Exactly, Whirly Gates. Yes, I don't think he did that. I think and the reason why is because on when the forensic anthropologist testified, there were what did they call it? False starts on a lot of her bones, like he had gotten tired. So I think he was doing everything at one time. I think he just had his dad in the basement. Yeah, sad.
We know the Subaru departs at 9:36 and that Chandler goes to the farm. We know he goes to the farm from both his phone records, but also from this text exchange with Kat. Kat texts Chandler asking where he's going, and he replies, farm, but no one
I know,
hears the
Tony,
lead.
it's so sad.
We also know that out in the farm was found
And
a
what
Target bag that had been at
23-year-old
Chandler's
hangs
house.
out with all
How do
these
we know
adults?
that? 'Cause it has
23 is an
Kat's
adult,
name on
babe,
it
but
from
I
the
mean,
pickup
yeah, you're
order
right.
of the stuff she brought over.
Yep, see there, he
Yeah, when I was 23, I was going to my mom's friend's house
no,
for
I wasn't, neither
pizza
was,
and fireworks, and then going to some lady that I hardly talked to and just saying, "Can I use your pool?"
yeah, no, I mean, I didn't do that kind of stuff either. I also have never unalived anybody and then took apart their body and put it in a fireplace, so.
Oh, well, I have.
So we don't, yeah, it's weird how he thinks. So
I
that's
took
pretty,
Carly out the other night, and I looked back at my
Gentlemen, we
window,
will
and I could
break,
see the fireplace flickering, and I was like, "Ooh."
oh, yikes. All right, so that's the prosecutors. And now we have what's this one?
Chandler.
Here we go. Here comes the defense. Y'all ready for this? Oh, shit. Hit it.
Let's see if she says it from her gut.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I feel like she will.
Attorney Vera, would you please present the defense closing?
Thank you. Taking you
Did
back
she
2
just do
weeks
the
ago,
strung like bull on the
roughly,
mic? Is that what she was
we were
doing?
told
I think
that
so.
opening instructions, like closing arguments, are not evidence. But what it is a roadmap of how their case is going to go and how our case is going to go. So you have an idea, as you're hearing all this evidence, how this case is going to go from both sides.
Attorney, hold my hoops.
From the beginning, we told you that this case was about the homicides. I listened to Attorney Brown's opening again this morning as I was getting ready, and there were some things that he noted that I think are important. First off, towards the end of his opening, he apologized for some things. Essentially, he apologized for doing his job. He said it might be repetitive, it might be boring at times, but he needs to do it because he has a constitutional obligation to present their case and they only have one time. And that's fair. So now it's my turn to apologize. I am going to apologize for doing my job.
I thought she was going to say I was going to apologize for doing nothing.
First, let me talk about my job.
For not doing my job.
A lot of people think my job is to, quote unquote, get the defendant off on their charges, to object to every single question that's asked, to ask any question I possibly can of witnesses, to be loud, obnoxious, and make a scene so that I can try to get this person off of their charges.
Well, isn't that her job?
No.
It's not. My job is to make sure that they do their job.
She's right.
My job is to make sure that if they're bringing charges on someone, they're doing it because they can do it beyond a reasonable doubt. They can prove those charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay, but this is not
People
what.
don't like when I say those
Hold on a
words, beyond
second. She's
reasonable
going to get a
doubt.
little roast now. Okay, the truth is, yes, this absolutely 100% is her job. She's absolutely correct. That is her job. Okay, but that isn't how you would, I wouldn't put it that way in a closing statement, especially when I've literally put on no defense.
Right.
And I've objected a total of 5 times. And the 5th one you haven't even seen yet. 4 times up until this point. Okay? Like, no.
I like
Because
how
it
she
almost
got
feels
the
like a cop-out.
material for her opening statement this morning.
Yeah.
You didn't already have your speech done?
No, she listened to his as she was getting ready. She went back. Yeah, she heard what the prosecutor said. She re-listened to his. She was on the tubes.
Yeah.
We've already seen that. If you would have came over here, girl, we would have helped you out.
Yeah.
And if you think that it's a cop
Long
out,
time ago.
well, then your issue is not with me. Your issue is not with Chandler. Your issue is with the U.S. Constitution that says
Probably
that
don't
without
want to
them,
tell the jurors they have
you
issues.
don't have me. And
Don't want to
without me,
confront the
you don't
jury.
have them.
You need them to be on your side,
My
Miss
job
Ma'am.
is to make sure that the state, with all of its powers, look, they even have more tables than we do, that they do their
Jeez.
job.
They'd even
And I'm
had
going to do that
lapel
job
mics
today.
and you didn't.
There's a couple things that I want to address before I go any further down the evidence. The first thing I want to address is sort of the obvious.
Okay, Paula.
Chandler lies.
You'll get it. Promise.
He tells a lot of lies. Not only does he lie, but he
Look at Chandler over here.
goes to
What are you doing, lady? Why would you say that? He's very upset. I'm trying to see if I can see if he's, hold on, let me make this bigger. I can't tell if he's wearing handcuffs or not.
No,
They're
he's
usually not
'cause he was holding a pin just a little
They're
bit.
usually not allowed to do
if you
that.
will, to keep those lies going, or to perhaps cover up those lies. I guarantee you, every single person in this room has told a lie.
I've
has
covered
either
this
covered up
already.
That lie, or has done something to keep that lie going.
I have. I have told people that the outfit they were wearing did not make them look fat. but that's not a lie. It's really not the outfit's fault. Okay, what I haven't lied about is reporting somebody missing, but they weren't missing because I killed them. That I haven't lied about, but let's keep going.
Maybe not now, maybe when you were a teenager. Go back to high school. I'm sure you lied at your parents all the time. You're not on trial, so your lies are not exaggerated and highlighted right now.
Exaggerated?
But they are here.
I don't think they needed to be
And the
exaggerated.
important part is that Chandler is not charged with lying to his girlfriend or to his parents. There's one charge that has to deal, one per parent, that has to deal with lying. Everything else is something that the state told you to try to feed you a theory, a motive, and to essentially taint your view on Chandler. So when we were going over jury selection, I asked you, how would you feel if he didn't testify? And a couple people said I wouldn't need to hear from him. A couple people said that they would treat him the same way they would do every witness. Bullshit. He lies, and they did a great job of making it known that he lies. If he testified, you were not going to believe anything he said. I also said that it was a game day decision, and most of the times it is a game day decision. This never was.
Really?
If you heard from him, were you even going to believe him? You weren't, and that's fine, because it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, there's only one lie that really does matter, and that's the one that he said about his parents missing. I'm going to make your life a little easier, and it's going to be a little unconventional. What? There are certain charges that I believe the state has met their burden, and they have proved it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay, listen. Now, I know that because you're a public defender, technically you are paid by the state, okay? But you're not working for them in this capacity. You're supposed to be helping your client. And now you're helping the jury find your client guilty of what started the crime spree, meaning he lied about them being missing. Now, why would he lie about them being missing? What reason would he have to lie about them being missing?
Right.
So, excuse me, Miss Vera, I call bullshit. This is the worst. Now that I've heard it a second time, look, the first time I heard it, I was so flabbergasted, and that's the word I used. Flabbergasted that these are the words that came out of her mouth in this order. That I have to admit, it's not very often that Jen Lou is shook to silence.
Yeah.
Jen Lou was shook to silence, so much so that she's now referring to herself in the third person. Okay. It's taken me 2 days to recover from this debacle of a closing argument. I could have made a better closing argument drunk than this. And maybe next Friday I'll try. It's my birthday. All right, hold on.
Hey, wait.
And again.
Wait, what?
Did one of the names he used, I was reading an article the other day, did one of the names he used was
Which
Tom
other day?
Selznick?
I think so.
I don't know if it was Tom. I know the last name was Selznick, though.
Because that's a character from the movie Grand Piano.
Hold on a minute.
But the film's about a pianist trying to make a comeback, only to be the target of a sniper who kills him for playing the wrong note.
Damn.
Oh, boy.
Now I'm going to have to Google all these names that he's used.
Just thought that was interesting.
That is pretty interesting. I can't push play because now I'm outside. Oh.
Okay.
Is that the only Tom Selznick? I wonder who. I wonder if those are somebody. One of our chatter. I know one of the people in the chat the other day said that they should have looked up the people that he was playing with online to see if that was their names.
Yeah.
But I like the pianist story better. Pew
Bueller? Bueller.
The beginning. First-degree intentional homicide is a serious charge.
No shit.
We've been here
The
for
most
homicides.
serious. Where are you going with this?
A piece of
I'm
paper
already
that
bored
is
and
signed,
confused.
formal piece of paper that's signed by Chandler to the Dane County Sheriff's Office about a missing persons that clearly is not true. This is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And I want you to think about that when it comes to talking about these homicides.
She said he signed a
want you to
piece of
think about
paper and
another
it's clearly not true.
She's saying that
I made a
he
weird noise,
lied
I
on
apologize.
his
I
missing
want you to think
persons
about
report
another
when he signed it.
When
He
Attorney
did.
Raymond did her closing,
Well, obviously.
two phrases, if you will, really caught on. Several times she said, "We know X, Y, and Z happened. We know that this happened." Pay attention to the times where she said, "We don't know."
Oh, yeah, I gotta wait for the burp.
It already happened.
It already happened.
No,
Oh, damn.
I can't
Missed
tell
it.
you.
It's okay.
How she was
Don't worry.
killed. We don't know. Whatever.
Whatever.
And it was always in the parts that had to do with the homicides.
Because I
No,
didn't have
it
the
was
full
When I
in-
was in
body.
law school, I was told that the words "I don't know" should never come from that table. Because you should know. If you're charging people with crimes, you should know. So now I'm going to walk you through the evidence that I think that they skipped over that matters for me in proving that first-degree intentional homicide was not something that they met their burden on. I first want to talk about the cabin.
They don't care what matters to you, though. You should have said what matters,
There is a cabin.
what should
There's
matter
no
to
dispute with
you.
that.
They're the ones deciding.
Bart and
You're
Crystal
not.
went to the cabin at least 2 or 3 times a year, I think is what someone testified to.
You think? You don't know?
It's possible that they could have gone to the cabin that weekend. In fact, you don't even know what their weekend plans were. Friends testified. None of them said, "Oh, they were going to come over to watch fireworks with us."
They didn't
So
go
no
to
one knew
the. They're
what their plans
okay.
were that
Push
weekend.
pause, Shmita. This lady is now. She
The
done made
reason
me
they're making a
mad.
big deal.
Okay. Okay, but I'll wait. Paula wants to hear this. So we're going to let Paula hear this. And after she's
About
done
it
with
is-
this little spiel, then it's coming.
Print ready.
Because
Please
that
send
is
that
some
meme
kind
to
of
one of us.
premeditation to them. That is some kind of intent. Ooh, he was going to do something that day. He knew he was going to do something.
Print ready.
that day,
I
so
got
he
your
was gonna
email,
say
babe.
something
Thank
about
you
going
so
to the
much. I'll
cabin.
reply. Sorry. Oh, no, you want me to go? Okay. Push pause, Shmita. I'm ready to go. Please,
He's
ma'am.
talking to his girlfriend.
Okay. Listen, lady. Who in 2021 goes to the cabin without their phone? And we know that they went without their phone because the Cellbrite search came back. And guess where that text originated from? Their home. So no, ma'am, they did not go to the cabin. Why would they be at the cabin texting that they were at the cabin, but the text came from their home? Does that make a lick of sense to you?
And
No,
why
and it
would
didn't.
the phone be in her shoe
Why-
wrapped in aluminum foil?
Correct. Now listen, I've done some shady business in my life, okay? Not really. But one thing I have never done, I have changed the password to the Wi-Fi on my kids. Yes, I sure have. I have never hidden any phone, mine or somebody else's, in a shoe, in the garage, under a shelf, wrapped in foil. That has never happened. Okay? This is ridiculous. This is literally probably the worst. I think it is the worst closing argument I have ever heard in my life. And why are you holding up their evidence? What are you doing?
It's the worst one I've heard too, and I watch a lot of trials.
You're literally arguing for your client in this moment. And you're holding up the state's evidence against him, and you're telling them they're right, while at the same time saying they don't know. How can they be right and not know at the same time? You can't.
Right.
Listen, lady, you're going to have to pick a struggle, okay?
Yeah.
Lord, all right, I'm done. That's all I got for now. I'm sure there'll be more later.
Oh, there's more for you to roast.
Days before, on the 30th, so a day before, there's a text message exchange between Kat and Chandler where Kat asks, "We're not going to the cabin, right?" And he says no. You're allowed to use your common sense. When you have conversations with significant others and you're texting, you're not going to get the full story because sometimes you do it in person. What we know from him and his girlfriend is that they chatted on Snapchat. They chatted everywhere they could. So you're not going to get the full story from text messages. But what you do know is that at some point, talks about going to this cabin as a family were happening. So this notion that the idea of going to the cabin was last minute because he needed to cover up these homicides that he was going to do is not true. Now, again with the lies. Certain lies mattered. Certain lies did not. What I want to clear up, and Attorney Raymond did a great job when she mentioned that we've seen this case multiple times. We've dealt with this case. We've talked to each other about this case. So sometimes we get things wrong. I'm going to clear up something that they got wrong.
Are you applying for a
The
job
evidence
at the
does
DA's
not
office
show
right now? Because that's
that
what it
Bart
kind of
and
feels
Krista
like.
knew about this SpaceX job. You heard from Kat's mother, Dulce, that she knew about it. You
What did she
heard
call
about
her?
Cress knew about it. Kat
Lupus?
talked about it.
Dulce,
Maybe
she
her
pronounced
roommate
it
talked about it, but
correctly.
you never heard
Oh.
anyone
She said
testify
Luce.
that
No,
Bart and
she said
Krista knew
Dulce.
about
She
the
pronounced
SpaceX
it
job.
correctly.
You heard from
All
Bart's
lies
brother,
matter.
Brett.
I had
I
to
do not
like
believe
do a
he
double
mentioned
take the
it at
first time I
all.
heard that. I thought it said all.
So
oh
that's not a
no,
lie
some lives
on
matter.
this house of
That's what I
cards that
thought
was
she said. And I
crashing
was like,
down
what?
that Bart and Krista knew about. You also didn't hear that they knew about the scuba team, dive team, whatever you want to call it, lie with the City of Madison Police Department. You heard it from his girlfriends, ex's girlfriends, and Kat.
Every time I hear about this scuba thing, I always think of
But you
Scuba
didn't
Steve
hear it
from Big Daddy.
from people that knew Bart and Krista and said that they mentioned it. And even then, all of these lies, what does
Right,
it
Whirly?
matter?
That's so true.
So I want to talk about the
Before
two
G.I.
lies
Joe?
that the
Yup.
state really honed in on.
I'm sorry,
And
G.I.
boy, did they
Andrew.
do a great job talking about these lies and making it seem like it really was a big deal. Let's talk about MATC.
Lady,
First of all,
he was
yesterday, I
lying
think
since
we
November
heard
of the year before. That's
from
kind of a
an
big deal.
official person from
Can you push
MATC
pause? I'm ready for the All Lives Matter
No record.
portion of the show. Okay. All lies do matter. Okay. A lie like, was it good for you? And you say yes. It may not matter to you, but I bet the person you lied to, it matters to. All lies matter. Did you kill your parents? No, but you did. That's a lie that matters. Okay.
During this time, Detective Shunk showed us transcripts. You saw all his grades. He did attend at some point. That was really all you
Yeah,
needed.
we saw all his
You
grades.
did not need to have
Yeah.
the email
Like-
conversations.
Yeah,
You did
and
not
him
need to have
saying
the
in an
text
email his
conversations. You didn't
GPA
need
was
any
awesome.
of that, but they provided it
Correct.
to you, even though it's not an element or a charge that they have to prove. During their opening and throughout the case, they made a big deal about this email.
All lies
It was
matter.
an email between Bart and Krista. First of all, the email happened October 10th, 2020. The jig
2020.
was up a long
And
time
there's
ago.
your
It
merch,
didn't all of a
Jen.
sudden crash
There we
and
go.
burn on the 1st of July, 2021. And Bart knew. He was onto it. He says, he sounds just like Chaz on the phone. Use your common sense. These
This
email
part she might
exchanges
have a
are from
little bit
people
right.
with a .gmail.com address. Official school people using a .gmail.com address. Both Bart and Krista are
I can't think of a
child-educated.
single
You
person,
want to tell me that
Whirly
they
Gates. I
honestly
really
thought
can't.
that this was legit? Or maybe they knew that their child was lying and they were just going to carry on the lie.
Why is that reasonable to think that?
Same with AmFam. And I
It's
use
not.
AmFam
Allie,
included,
I think
but
she is
American
applying for the
Family
job at
Trust.
the DA's office at this point.
Again, there was a person that testified yesterday that Chandler never worked there, but you still had emails, you still
Well,
had
to
text
be
messages, you still
fair,
had this and
like,
that
really,
confirming
what
that
is
he
she
lied,
supposed to
even though
say?
one person could have
Well,
done
anything
that.
would be better
And
than
again,
this.
it's not an element that they needed to prove. It's
They
not a
probably
charge
should
that
have
they
said
needed to
nothing.
prove. They just wanted you to know that he's a liar. And what does it matter? Here's what you need to ask yourself. What does it matter? Because according to them, that's motive. That's the reason why he did what he did. This house of cards built of lies was crashing down, and he had nothing. He couldn't do anything, but he had to murder these people.
Yeah.
Why?
That's
Not
sometimes
these
the way people
people.
do.
Why? You don't know why.
They were his
You were never
parents.
told that they were going to kick him out of the house. You were never told that they were going to disown him. You were never told anything about why it matters. If this is going to be motive, if this is the reason you're intentionally killing someone, it better matter. There
Well,
better
you
be
didn't show that they
consequences.
were going to kick him out either. Maybe you should have showed that.
Kids
Which
lie to
still
their
is no
parents
excuse for
all the time.
murder.
The burden of proof may be on the prosecution,
And
but
you
they could
just
have
don't
at
know how
least.
this was going to affect
That's
Chandler.
what they
Why?
could have gone. They could
He's
have gone
complaining
deeper
to
with
his
the
girlfriend the
the
morning of
text.
about everything being fucked up and crashing down. You do that. That's what
Whoa!
significant others are for. You honestly think that he's complaining about things crashing down and his mind is going straight to, well, now I'm just going to murder them.
Oh, did she say the bullshit?
She said that.
There's
No,
another
that was
motive that
at the
was
very
mentioned
beginning. This
briefly,
time
but it
was
was
the
mentioned, so
F-bomb.
I'll talk about it.
Oh,
Things were
When
fucked
Mitchell
up.
testified,
Can you
Oh,
push
good.
the
pause,
very last question was about a life insurance
please?
policy.
I missed it.
Yeah, the bullshit was at the very beginning.
Before the
Okay,
burp.
yeah. So let me ask you this: if you have no job and you're not in school, what is it that's your perfect life is fucked up and crashing down? What do you have that's fucked up and crashing down? Nothing.
A burner phone.
The lies. This is where she screwed up.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
I think the
Okay,
I'm sure
Lupe.
This is where.
Lupe, I wasn't going to say that, but she was reminding me of a young Yolanda Saldívar as well. For me too. And a few times in my brain, I said, not out loud, anything for Salinas. But I didn't say it out loud. But I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you. As it was blocking my brain. Now more fun stuff can come out of my mouth. Okay, please play. Sorry.
Oh yeah, she definitely ironed and like folded his underwear for him. That poor mom. Jeez.
But what was crushing? That's what I don't get.
And
Why?
I
What was he
believe
venting
he
to his
said
significant other
payout
about?
may have been about
Matt?
$1 million.
Because he was
And he acted
grounded.
confused.
Hey, Max.
He didn't really know about it. It could very well be that the only reason he knows that number, that value, is because of things that are
Something,
happening now.
anything. Whirly, they did
I
nothing.
don't doubt that kids know about parents having life insurance policies. I don't doubt that.
He's not a kid.
But ask yourself this, does
22
everyone know
years
how
old.
much the policy is worth? Probably not.
I think my kids know
Do
that
you
we
think
don't
you're
have
gonna get
one.
$1 million from your parents?
I've already told them,
Probably
don't
not.
bother. You'll just be stuck with a bill.
And there was no evidence that was provided to show that Chandler knew that there was a policy in place and he knew the value. Knew enough of that value to do something very drastic to get that money. There was no evidence that he needed money.
We're going out
Yes,
with
he didn't
something
have a
with hefty
job,
on the
but
side of it.
nothing came out that he needed money.
Nothing came out that he needed money other than he
And I'm
had no
spending
job
time
and he had to
talking
text
about
his
a
girlfriend
motive
for money for work, for
because,
lunch.
as the judge said, they don't need to
Okay.
prove a motive.
And couch fort
Motive
supplies.
does not mean intent, and I need you to understand that. Motive does not mean intent.
Challenge
He
accepted, Worley Gates.
searched for his paycheck for 8 months.
The other important part that I want to focus on is this timeline. If you go back to the opening, the state said that from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on the 1st, the killings occurred. Again, it's not evidence, but it is a roadmap, and it is important because that's how they're going to tailor their case throughout. Well, first of all, Krista didn't get
Did
home
you just
until
pass the bar
after
2 days ago?
5
What is
o'clock,
happening
roughly
here?
around 5:12.
I don't
They
know
made
if
a
she
big
passed the
deal
bar.
about
Maybe this is like an
MATC
internship.
meeting.
Something tells me she's never
MATC
passed
with
a bar.
Chaz,
Just
Chaz,
kidding.
MATC. You don't know if that was in person. You don't know what it's about other than MATC. You don't know if it was just a conversation that they were going to have. You don't know if it's a follow-up. You don't know anything about it other than some kind of MATC chat was going to happen between Bart and Chandler. And that was going to happen at 3 o'clock.
And they were going to be told that he
I don't know about
did
you,
not
but my
attend the
meetings never
school.
run on time.
What do you mean we don't know?
The other important part with this
He
timeline
called. What's
is
his
what
Yeah,
name?
that needs a
yesterday
pause.
from Bart's employer.
He called Omar, and Omar was just as confused as Bart was on that call. And bless Omar's little heart, he was really trying to help. Let me try it this way. Let me search this way. Let me search that way. No, I don't see that you were enrolled in a solar program.
And you
No.
can hear that Bart says it's not anything on our end, it's yours. So obviously he believed the stuff that
Correct.
Chazzy was telling him.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez almighty. They would have been better off saying, no thank you.
Right? Like,
They would have been better off coming into this chat and hearing the things that we all say and putting it together in
they
some
might
sort
have
of
been watching us.
If they'd have been watching us, none of this would have came out of her mouth.
I like
None
the
of it.
pauses on her face. Or her face
Yeah.
on the pauses.
Let me say this. I've been looking at you that whole way, the whole time. The way that you're looking at that jury right now with that stank face, that's how I've been this whole time, Miss Vera. I've
I feel
been
like-
mean mugging you.
I feel like she went home afterwards and was like, well, that was embarrassing.
Good. I hope she is embarrassed because this is
She
embarrassing.
probably went and watched the chat and saw everybody making fun of her.
Yeah, like, what is she doing? I don't know.
Oh,
Yikes
well.
on bikes.
This is...
It's almost over. This is really painful.
We asked him about that spreadsheet that has these logins. I remember the logins were in Eastern time. So what we were able to get out is that roughly from about 4:13, there was a login. What do we know about that login? We know that it's required, a password is required. We also know that, like a lot of dads, people keep their passwords in a place where they can remember them. We also know that the logins, that there was a certain amount of logins that you were able to do before you were booted out. We also know that that person tried these passwords, couldn't get in. So there's some leaps that you have to make in order for this theory or this
Wait a
timeline to
minute.
make sense.
Leap.
The first leap you have to make is that Chandler knew that password. There's no evidence that he knew that. The second theory that you have to make is that while he's allegedly murdering his parents, he had the wherewithal to go to this computer and put on YouTube or something to keep it going. When there's no evidence that that even happened. There was a lot of evidence about cell phone data that were extracted, computer data, all of that, but nothing about Bart's laptop showing that there was YouTube or anything to keep that computer active,
probably
because it had to be
deleted it.
active. It would shut down or would log off after 20 minutes of inactivity. The other piece of evidence with this timeline is that you had that neighbor that during their closing, the state said that the neighbor smelled something around 8 to 9 p.m.
Really?
No, they testified that it was around 7 o'clock that they started smelling something. What we do know is that roughly around 2,
He's shaking his head
8,
like, yeah,
around
you smell
8:30-ish,
something.
maybe a little earlier, look at your notes,
I think he's
Chandler
mean
went
mugging
to
her.
Quick Trip to buy some ice.
He should have just
So
went
again,
on the
another
stand. It
leap
would
that
have
you're
went better.
supposed to make is that while he's allegedly murdering his parents, he decides, I'm going to start this fire. I'm going to put some things in that fire, but wait, I have to go to Quick Trip.
He looks like he's getting ready to fall asleep.
Use your common sense. That makes sense to absolutely no one. They
So-
don't get the benefit of the doubt that I get.
Who burned the
So they
who?
can't say,
How did
well,
all
we
the
might have
bones
been wrong about the timeline.
wind up in the?
They don't get that.
Keep listening.
What you have is a medical examiner, 2 medical examiners that could not say the time of death. So really, truly, do you know what time these alleged homicides happened? You don't. You know that they happened that day based on other circumstantial evidence that you can put together, but you don't know the exact time. Let's talk about what else you do not
Well,
know.
what was Chandler
Do
doing?
not
Was he
know
at
what
work
gun was used.
during the critical points?
They want to make a big deal about this gun. Let's talk about it. You heard from a medical examiner that there was at least 2 to 3 shots of a gun, period. That medical examiner was not able to tell you what kind of gun, wasn't even able to tell you if it was a high-powered rifle.
That's not her
That's
job.
not her job.
She also wasn't able
Get
to
out of
tell
my head,
you
Mo.
which wound occurred first. So this contact wound, that could have been the last one. That could have been the first one. You don't know. This gun was not even located until October. These homicides occurred in July.
Which I will give her that. They should have found
Chandler
that gun.
apparently hid everything. He hid it so well that they didn't find it until October when the owner of that farm was cleaning out. If anything, Dane County deputies did a thorough investigation. They spent at least 3 hours in that barn. You want to tell me they couldn't find a gun, but they were able to find a tarp?
Okay, she testified that they were at the farm for like 2 weeks. Which I'm sure, yeah, not all of it would have been in the barn, but 2 weeks, they would have taken more than 3 hours to search a barn.
No, the one cop said they were only in there for 3 hours.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because I remember Cress was saying like she couldn't cut her grass or something for.
I think that was code for I couldn't swim topless in my pool. They had everything shut down. Here's the deal, though. Did y'all see that barn?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the thing. I'm sure they were looking for a firearm at one point. I'm sure they were. But probably not until the it isn't like the gun was sitting on a shelf in the barn, just chilling. It was hidden. And Cress, if you're listening, this is no shade at your barn housekeeping skills. It's a barn, okay? And it was full of things, and it should have been full of things. So, no, don't believe it, Attorney Vera. This is not working for me. No. It doesn't matter when they found the gun. The only what they had to prove, and this is what you should have focused on, is who had access to the gun. That's what you should have focused on. And who was at that house that shot that weapon and caused the ricochet into the basement floor. Do you know what I'm saying? She's just made me mad. Okay.
What you know from the gun is that there's a bullet.
There was a ricochet in the basement in the floor. Heather, they showed pictures of it
Bullet casing and a bullet fragment in this basement. That
with his
matched
dad's
gun.
with his
You
dad's
do
blood
not
on
know
it.
when that casing was there. You don't even know if that bullet fragment and that casing happened at the same time.
Okay. Are
You
there
don't know that this
hospital
was a gun
records?
that was used on.
Please hold. Are there hospital records of other times that Bart Halderson went to the emergency room or a hospital or triage or a Care Now clinic with gunshot wounds? I mean,
Brett, on Bart. You don't know that.
but then you tell them to use their common sense. Oh boy.
So whenever you don't know about something, you have to ask yourself, have they met their burden? Is this proof beyond a reasonable doubt? Because you do have examples of what proof beyond a reasonable doubt is. Those maps that we saw yesterday, tracking Chandler's every single move.
Oh my gosh, Whirly.
Matching up with where the bodies were found and at the time that they were found, that's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. A bloody tarp and some tools, that's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. But that doesn't mean that a homicide occurred.
What?
It means that something
Excuse me?
awful happened.
She's right, though. It means
And no
that they
one's
were
disputing that.
dismembered,
No
and the
one is saying that
reason.
nothing happened to
Oh,
Bart and
hold on a
Krista.
second. Okay, she's right about this because the dismemberment took place post-mortem and both medical examiners. I see where she's going, but she doesn't quite get there because it's bullshit.
Something awful happened to these two people.
Yes.
And the very least you can say is that Chandler reacted. But
Okay.
you do not know what happened. And I know some of you have already made up your mind. I see it, and that's fine. Maybe you do think
I'd be
he
the one
murdered
in the
his
jury too,
parents.
just like stink eye.
Yeah, I'd
The
be
question I have for you
I'll
is,
like wrap it up,
did
lady.
the state meet their burden when it comes to first degree
I would be
intentional
running over the
homicide?
menu in my
There are a
head
lot of different
of the last
homicides.
place I'm going to eat
First,
on
second,
the state's
breakfast.
dime.
They chose first
But I'm not
degree
even going to eat
intentional
because I'm not a
homicide
big
because
eater.
they believe
I
that they
just
could
order.
prove that.
I just get
I'm
drinks.
asking you that question.
Me too.
What have you been given that proves
What you got in the
intent?
way of snacks? That's what I'd be asking.
Some searches after the fact?
Yeah.
I don't want a full meal. What about the snack?
During closing, they said that the last time that there was any kind of search happened on the 8th. And they believe that he was just deleting his searches every day.
Right,
He
Whirly
wasn't able to
Gates.
delete his
This is
searches
basically what she's
on the
saying.
8th because he was arrested. There are searches on the 7th. And hey, guess what? There are times when I do not Google something. There are times when you all don't Google something.
Not really. I'm Googling all the time.
So
You
he
have no
was
idea how much
smart
I use
enough
Google as like
delete his Google
a way to know how to
history,
spell
but he's not
something.
smart enough to delete anything else.
Let me see what I Googled
He's
today.
smart enough to do a very
Please
good
hold.
job about cleaning and concealing these homicides. But man, was he just really bad when it came to everything else.
Oh,
You cannot have it both ways.
Yes, you can.
You can't have someone that is so cold and calculated to clean everything up and then say to themselves, I'm going to leave one casing.
somebody who
just
doesn't have a
can't
job
have
as a
that with
slacker,
everything else that
leaving a
happened after
casing
these
is a slack
homicides.
job. Makes
It's
sense.
kind of laughable when you think about it.
No, nothing about it's
And
laughable.
you just don't have that
besides
with
you.
this homicide.
Exactly.
Why?
I
Why
think
would you
the
have
new
that?
merch idea should be show me your Google search history.
There was no evidence. There was no testimony at any point saying that Chandler had planned this out. And they would have brought it to you if they had it. There's no evidence at all that Chandler is a violent person. And I'm not saying that you need to be a violent person to commit homicides. I
Swats.
don't, you know that. But again, intent is something that means something. And there's just no evidence that's providing you with that
Yes,
level of proof beyond a reasonable doubt that you need for this first-degree intentional homicide.
Yes, I like that, Paula. Google this.
Do you know how Bart was killed? Exactly how he was killed.
Gunshots.
Do you know how Krista was killed?
Dismemberment.
Do you know if it was an awful accident? Do you know if it was intentional?
What
awful
accident?
accident
Wait
to
a
Do you know
minute.
if there was someone else
Wait a
involved?
minute. Wait a minute.
Oh.
First of all, what awful accident results in 3 gunshot wounds to the back?
He fell
Not
on
to the
it.
front. You can't fall on it. No, that was the entry wound is to the back. You fell backwards on the gun and made the gun go off that way. Okay. Then, because there was a horrible accident, and rather than explaining the horrible accident and rolling the dice, you decide to dismember 2 bodies that were your parents and put them in the fireplace to destroy the evidence of this horrible accident.
Oops.
Right. Like okay,
My
Chris
bad.
Watts is a psycho for putting his kids in those tanks and like smothering them or choking them, whatever the fuck he did.
Also
And
not
that's
accidents.
like there's like a level of like fucked up to do that to your own kids or any child, but
Right.
especially your own kids.
Right.
But like this is like a whole another level of fucked up. Like dismembering 2 bodies, your parents' bodies, and then burn it. Like this kid is like, I don't know. I wish they touched more on his childhood.
Right. Okay. So Heather, whatever. I know you're talking about Robert Durst. I believe that while Robert, I'm going to have to look this up. I believe that Robert Durst got away. I believe he was found not guilty of the murder, but I actually think he was convicted of the other charges related to Morris Black, and but he had been in jail awaiting trial because he had been a flight risk because he had skipped bail, so they denied him bail the second time when they finally caught up with him. And I think by the time the trial had while he waited for trial, then the trial and all the business, I think he got time served. But no. I think that's what happened. I'm not sure. Please to hold and I will hit the Googles. My third Google search. The rest of it is other stuff today that I was preparing for a different video I'm making. But please continue, Miss Schmida.
You don't. And that's a problem. Now, for better or for worse, this case has gotten a lot of media attention, and unfortunately, I have to bring it up. You were asked every day whether or not you saw something on the news, whether you heard something on the news. And you were asked that for a reason. You guys have a really bad job coming up. It's difficult. I do not want your job. You have to go back and look at everything and make sure that everything that you're discussing in that room actually came from evidence that you heard from
Okay, I
that
have the
stand,
answer.
and not from the Google searches that you may or may not have done. I'm hoping.
Okay. So, with respect to Morris Black, he was found guilty of tampering with evidence and bail jumping, and he got 60 months. So, I think by the time everything was all said and done, I think he ended up with time served. So, yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm ready.
Hey, Jen, are you
this,
at
but
your
I'm gonna be
computer?
realistic.
I am. Why?
Okay.
Or the comment
Schmieda's
section on
asking in
YouTube.
chat.
And you're gonna have to hold that person accountable, and you're gonna have to hold that person accountable, because that's your duty. You have another very serious duty that's gonna be hard for each and every one of you to do. You're gonna have to take your emotions out of the equation. There was another promise that was said during the state's opening. They promised you that they were not going to try to tug at your heartstrings and show you pictures that they didn't need to show you. When Mitchell testified, do you think he needed a giant blow-up picture of his parents next to him to be reminded what his parents looked like?
Okay, so Amelia, what happens is, so when you get bail, right, it means that you make a promise. And what you're promising is that you will show up for your court hearing. Okay. What happened with Robert Durst is he was out on bail, and he promised to show up at his first court appearance, and he didn't. That's what bail jumping is. And then he went on the run, and they ended up catching up with him because he was at a grocery store, and he shoplifted a $2 sandwich while he had $50,000. I think he had $5,000 in his pocket. He had some unreasonable amount of money it was a $2.50 sandwich, for Pete's sake. But that's what bail jumping is. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
okay,
Whirly.
Huh?
I wonder if he.
I wonder what would have happened, because he obviously had the gun there, Whirly. If they'd rode their little lawnmower up there. Thank God they didn't.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't think about that. All right.
I didn't either until Whirly just said that.
Yeah, me either.
When Brett testified, do you think it was important for their case to ask him the last conversation he had with his brother? Oh, and it happened to be on his birthday? The birthday being July 1st? No. They didn't do that because they needed it for the case. They did it because they want you to think of your emotions. They want you to feel things. Because when you feel things, it's going to be harder for you to separate feelings from facts. And you're going to have to do that.
Well, low key, lady, I feel like
bad.
my smart's separating from my brain after listening to you, but here we are.
And after you make your decision, no one's going to walk out of this courtroom feeling at ease, at peace, happy. But you're going to have to do that. And people
Especially
are not
not Chandler.
It, regardless of what the
Is he
decision
yawning?
is.
He's going to be, I don't
You're gonna
know,
have
he's
to
going to
hold
be
people
walking out
accountable
of there
for it.
feeling convicted to life without possibility of parole.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I forgot to push pause. I'm in play. Sorry, my bad. Oh, crap. No, we can't. I can't do her again. I'm sorry. I can't hear no more.
Being July 1st. But when they're talking during their rebuttal, I want you to think of this. What if I told you that at any minute, someone's going to walk into that door, someone from the Dane County Deputy's Department is going to walk in and say, I found it. I found the video we were looking for. I know exactly what happened in that house on the 1st. It doesn't exist. But what if it did? Are you going to be paying attention to, I'm going to assume it's Mr. Brown, but are you going to be paying attention to what Mr. Brown has to say during his rebuttal? Or are you going to be looking at that door hoping that someone walks in? And if you're going to look at that door hoping that someone comes in, you have reasons to doubt.
No, because I would want to see somebody come in with that video, but I would not have reasonable doubt.
There are plenty of reasons to doubt that a first-degree intentional homicide occurred. There are plenty of reasons to doubt.
I don't know,
You may not
Max.
like that. It may feel like a cop-out. It may feel like I'm just
Chandler's confused and he
doing
writes fake
something
emails
for
to
the
himself.
sake of coming up here and talking to you. I'm not. I'm doing my job.
He's probably
I'm
thinking
making
I
sure that
should have
they do their
defended
job.
myself.
And I'm asking you to do your very difficult job
He's probably thinking I
of
shouldn't have did this,
evaluating
man.
everything. And from day one, the issue has been the homicides. I want you to spend time on the homicides. Ask yourself the questions that you need to ask. I guarantee you that the 12 of you that are going to go back and deliberate are all going to have 12 different theories on what happened, and that's a problem.
And I bet if he
I'm
had just
asking you
killed
to
his
find him
dad,
not
his
guilty
mom would be helping him right
of
now.
first-degree
Probably.
intentional homicide. Thank you.
Okay. So that's that. And I think now we've reached the portion where it's time. It's time to bid Chazzle Dazzle a fond farewell. And in that spirit, Shmita and I and the ward are proud to present this. You need a refill? All right, I'll wait. I'll wait. Let me know when you get back.
I didn't know you weren't going to play the rebuttal.
I can't sit in this chair anymore, Mel. My back is really
Well, I
hurting
don't
me.
blame you. I mean,
And
we already know the outcome.
Yeah. All right, you ready? All right, let's go. What the heck? Push wrong button.
And then the state will call its next witness.
The state's going to call Alyssa Keefer to the stand. Think about another thing. I made a weird noise, I apologize. But I want you to think. Anyway.
Depends on a lot of things. If I have, so I can have an AR-15 that I'll buy and I'll build it and then it'll sit in my safe for whatever reason for a long time and then I can go like, oh, okay, well, go and sell it. But as for how many I've sold, that's none of your business, frankly.
Okay. Bullshit. He lies, and they did a great job of making it known that he lies. If he testified, you were not going to believe anything he said.
Mitchell is dealing with it. Brett is dealing with it. They're family friends. The Hilgendorfs. Their kids, Haley and Hannah, they've had to deal with it. Mary Sesto had to deal with it. Kevin Linsmeyer, the neighbor, had to deal with it. Then to the police. Deputy Seeley, Deputy Nelson, Deputy Shunk, Deputy Sims, Deputy Hendrickson, Deputy Collins LaFleur, everyone who has interacted with this man for years has had no other experience other than being lied to. And now it's you that's going to be lied to by his attorneys. Asking
Okay,
you.
I'm gonna object now.
516. And I know it might be in a different form than usual, but in general, do you have an idea of what that is?
Yes.
What is that?
Snapchat messages.
And who are they with?
Chandler.
And Chandler's, to the best you can, I know these are people make up names, but what was Chandler's Snapchat name?
Chazzle Dazzle.
Chazzle Dazzle. And significant parts of this are redacted out. In the course of sending Snapchats, sometimes you send just in general. That's hand sanitizer, though. We're not going to drink that. Yeah. Here, no, bottle of water, Judge, right here.
Oh.
Sorry. You know, they make these look like water bottles. We got to get rid of them.
Oh. I must take all the sanitizer.
Yay!
There you guys go.
That was great.
Thank you. Thank you, Shmita.
Oh, thank you. I only got the clips.
Well, that's the important part.
Well, yeah, but you brought it all together.
I want to say one little. I couldn't figure out at first what the picture of the judge was, and I was like, "What is she trying to show here?" And then I looked again, and I was like, "The curl."
The curl. It was there was two. It was the curl, but the guy that was in front of him, his mask was like.
That's what I thought you were
his
going to
nose.
show because Shmita sent that in chat and was like, what's up with this?
Oh, let me play it again. I didn't see that. All right, hold
You
on.
cropped it.
Oh, did I?
But the curl it was the curl and the mask.
I thought it was the nose blowing.
No, when you did the curl,
Uh-huh.
it was his mask was below his nose.
Oh.
I didn't catch the mask either. I thought she was asking where his chin was.
He's totally watching YouTube.
Yeah. I'd be watching YouTube too.
And then the state will call
They're
its
probably
next
reading the
witness.
comments.
State's gonna call Alyssa and keep her to the stand.
That was it, right there.
I made a weird noise. I apologize. But I want you to think.
Depends on a lot of things. If I have, so I can have an AR-15 that I'll buy and I'll build it and then it'll sit in my safe for whatever reason for a long time and then I can feel like, oh, okay, well, go and sell it. But as for how many I've sold, that's none of your business, frankly.
Okay.
See his nose?
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit. He lies, and they did a great job of making it known that he lies. If he testified, you were not going to believe anything he said.
Mitchell is dealing with it. Brett is dealing with it. They're family friends. The Hilgendorfs. Their kids, Haley and Hannah, they've had to deal with it. Mary Sesto had to deal with it. Kevin Linsmeyer, the neighbor, had to deal with it. Then to the
What,
police.
Mac? You object?
Deputy Seeley, Deputy Nelson, Deputy Shunk, Deputy Sims, Deputy Hendrickson, Deputy Collins LaFleur, everyone who has interacted with this man for years has had no other experience other than being lied to And now it's you that's going to be lied to by his attorneys. Asking
Okay,
you.
I'm gonna object now.
516. And I know it might be in a different form than usual, but in general, do you have an idea of what that is?
Yes.
What is that?
Snapchat messages.
And who are they with?
Chandler.
Good night,
And
Nonstop Mom.
Chandler's-
Thanks for coming,
To the
babe.
best you can. I know these are people make up names, but what was Chandler's Snapchat name?
Chazzle Dazzle.
Chazzle Dazzle. And significant parts of this are redacted out. In the course of sending Snapchats, sometimes you send just in general. That's hand sanitizer, though. We're not going to drink that. Yeah. Here, no, we got a bottle of water, Judge, right here.
Oh.
Sorry. You know, they make these look like water bottles. We got to get rid of it.
Oh.
It was fun watching this with you guys. It
Almost
really was.
people
We're
to
definitely
sanitize.
going to do this again.
Yeah, and we'll post it because they're gonna have their, the sentencing and all that
Oh,
goes
yeah.
with that. So
Oh, yeah.
we'll cover that, and I do want to request some records eventually here about what's he doing in jail.
Yeah.
Like what he won't have. It'll be different than Watts.
Shmita, I love you, babe, but literally.
Yeah, there's going to be no Chazzle Dazzle Island.
No, let me just say this. Literally, there's most cases are not like Watts.
No, but Watts, he's got his parents that put money consistently in for him to call people, for him to buy things. He's giving away stuff to other inmates. He's giving his
other
underwear.
people other than his parents.
Yeah, I bet Chazzle Dazzle will get a few female admirers.
Yeah, what he's going to get the Hibristophiliac crowd.
Well, we'll find out if he has, canteen orders and stuff like that, because there's no...
Shmita's going to be on this. I'm telling you right now. Shmita is going to be monitoring Chazzle Dazzle from now until the end of time. Chazzle Dazzle, listen, my dude. You done sparked Shmita's interest. Good luck.
I can't see any of his family giving him any money.
No.
No, if he was my family, he could, rot in there. He would be dead to me. But, yeah. And if he gets, transferred somewhere or...
Shmita will find out. Shmita will know.
I'll let you know.
Of course. Of course she will.
Now his brother gets all the inheritance.
He still hasn't gotten the payout either, though. It's been a year.
Well, if I was the brother, I would
almost a
sue
year.
for wrongful death.
Well, I'm
Also,
sure they had to
so then
wait
if
for the
he
trial.
does, yeah, they gotta wait.
I wonder. This is what I want to find out. First of all, let me say this to everyone's in chat that's been here with us this whole time. I want to thank all of you guys because it has been fun and it has been educational, and we're definitely going to do this again. The next update after the sentencing, obviously we'll bring you guys that, right? But what I want to know next, and Shmita will find out, is he's going to Dodge, because that is a diagnostic center and that is likely where he would go. Now, would he be anywhere near Chris Watts? Probably not, but he might.
Yeah,
be.
I don't see him staying there.
No,
very long.
he won't. He won't stay for a long time, but he will be there. What I'm saying is while he's there, while they're waiting to figure out where he's going to be permanent, I don't think he'll be anywhere near Watts.
No, probably not.
But maybe he will. Maybe. We'll find. But if he is, whether he is or whether he isn't, Shmita will find out. And then we will find out.
That's true.
If Chazzle Dazzle puts one toe out of line for the next 50 years, Shmita will find out. And then we will find out. So the next case we're going to do, is Todd Mullis, and he's commonly known as the corn rake killer. So it's not a long case, and I'm going to be doing that with the girls and also with Teresa. And I know that there's a case of road rage, but I don't know if I want to cover that one because it's already kind of well into the trial. And I like to do it from the beginning. So I think they're playing this while they're waiting for something while there's something else upcoming. So don't you worry, we'll be covering it. Then I want you guys to know that Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, we will be making one last trip to Watts Island. That's it. There is plenty of escape plans prepared. We're not staying. It's one night and one night only. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this latest documentary, what they got right, what they got wrong. And I just need time. I'm going to watch it tomorrow and be fresh and ready for you guys on Sunday. But tell all your friends, this is the one and only time that I will be discussing the Watts case on this channel because I hate that island.
Where's the documentary?
Tubi.
What?
Tubi. Tubi.
Is that a YouTube?
No, it's a streaming service. Tubi. Tubi.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So we're going to discuss it. We're not staying on Watts Island. Nobody get comfortable. We're not going to have an all-out war. We're not going, none of that. It's going to be a chill night. And then we're going to bid a fond farewell and adieu to the Watts Island. As I never intended to cover it on this channel because it's already, Dr. B did such a great job. There's no real point, but so many people have been talking about this documentary, and I have some hold on a second, I'll tell you. So many people that are part of this channel, Dr. B, Shmita, Team Psych Ward, all were around for Watts Island from jump. And so Suburban Nightmare, that's what's called. So there we go. Just the one night though. And then the next case after that, Paula, is I'll put it in chat. Todd Mullis. And then we'll be done with it. I'll be a one final way. We'll all get our closure and be done with this island. Okay. I know, right? Okay. So I want to say thank you to everybody for coming tonight. Again, thank you for chilling with us. And I had a fun time talking about this case with you guys. I enjoyed it. Thank you to Mo and Shmita.
Thank
Dr.
you.
B.
It's very fun. I love doing this stuff.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. Dr. B, I hope you're listening. Come back. We miss you. And you will be coming back to the island. I don't care what you say. Then we're leaving. So thank you, Team Psych Ward, for modding the chat. I appreciate it, babe. We're going to do something tomorrow. I got to work it out with Sam, but I don't know what time, but I'll give you a heads up, obviously. We're going to do all things Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Sam knows all the things. Thank you, Paula. So be looking out for that tomorrow afternoon. And thank you, Heather. All right. So good night, everybody. And I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.